Bungie has officially unveiled Marathon and shown people a little glimpse of the gameplay of what to expect from this, did a deep dive with the developers, and went into all this information about the game. And honestly, on the surface, it doesn't look bad. It looks pretty decent. And I gotta be pretty honest when I see this, like, yeah, looks like a pretty good PvP shooter. What else you got for us? Oh, that's what it is. All right, that's fine. That's fine. These games can succeed in the landscape because, it's a new one. You never know what can happen. This game might be the next big thing, assuming it's free to play. Oh, it's not. What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Smash JT. I'm starting to wonder if Marathon is becoming Concord 2.0 after it got unveiled today, talking about more details with Marathon and more information going through it, and Bungie themselves clarifying that this is not going to be a free-to-play game. It brought up a lot of questions to people saying, wait, it's not going to be full price $70, but it's still going to cost money. And Bungie's like, yeah, but it's worth it. Hit that subscribe, give me a like, and check out smashjt.com for the full article breaking down is Marathon the next Concord. And yikes. What is it with Sony-owned studios these days? Yet another Sony-owned studio, this time Bungie, is betting big on paid multiplayer-only shooters in a free-to-play filled world. But will it work this time? Many gamers out there had one huge burning question. Is it free to play? And the answer now is a definitive nope. Marathon on X quote tweeted Wario64, which was weird enough in its own right, but maybe they're using Wario as a platform to get their information out there because he already has a massive platform, but whatever. They clarified, quote tweeting Wario64, who said, Marathon is going to launch as a premium product, meaning players will be asked to pay full price, in quotes. And then said, Marathon will have a battle pass, 3 maps, 4th map arriving shortly after launch. And Marathon quote tweeting to clarify, stating, Marathon will be a premium title. Marathon will not be a quote unquote full priced title. We'll announce details this summer, which the already confusing misinformation is starting seemingly day one with the unveil with all the information, like they haven't even decided on a price point for this game yet, which should be cause for concern if that's the case. According to official statements from Bungie, Marathon will be a premium title, meaning that players will have to pay to play. For a full game experience, including a campaign mode, sure, why not? I'm on board with that. Wait, it doesn't have a campaign mode? It's just PvP, and that's all the game is? Are we really doing this? We're charging people what I'm assuming will be somewhere between the $30 and $40 range for a game that is straight up multiplayer only? I mean, I guess it could work, but did Sony learn nothing from Concord? I'm going to be saying that a lot this video. Bungie also confirmed that Marathon is set to launch on September 23rd, 2025, but the optics thus far aren't great. I genuinely feel like these types of games never really stand a chance, at least not in the long term, because they're missing what so many gamers actually want, a solid single-player campaign. And while obviously I don't speak for everyone, there's something to be said for a game to just chill and play through the campaign and get familiar with the world before diving into the multiplayer side of things. And especially if you're going to be paying an upfront cost, because if you just want to play multiplayer PvP, why would you not just play Marvel Rivals or Overwatch or Apex Legends or a multitude of other massive properties that are all free to play? Again, the same concern that everyone had when it came to Concord, or even if you want to take it to the next level extent and say Anthem, which might make more of a comparison with this as a one-for-one, but either way, charging money for this title may not be the best idea, especially based off of past history. And while the game doesn't strike me as a woke slop fest, at least on the surface, there is certainly cause for concern even over at Bungie. Shout out to Packer Girl over on X, who said, this is the Marathon producer, by the way, and shows a profile for someone by the name of Prince Zezu. Do not harass or contact any of these people. This is for informational purposes only. But my God, why is this always the case with every single one of these companies? Prince Zezu with a watermelon slice says that same guy from Twitter, Gay AF, weightlifter, producer on Marathon, Pitbull Dad and Pokemon Master, BLM, trans rights, Chinga Lamingra, kindness is an action, and then IG and Discord, Prince Zezu. And as I always say with these people, whatever you do when you close your bedroom door at night, have at it, bro. I legit don't care. But when you have to put it front facing on your profile, I can't help but think that that's the same type of person that's going to try to inject it in the games that they work on, because it's not something that they have a passion for and care about. It's more of an ideology that they want to push on other people, even if it's something more subdued or subconsciously. Watching the cinematic shorts Bungie dropped about Marathon's lore, I can't help but think the game looks really amazing. So why isn't it part of the campaign? Similar to exactly what they did with Firewalk Studios and Concord, putting all of their budget into cinematic hype and nothing to really back it up in terms of story-driven gameplay and a single-player campaign. Please, somebody tell me why Sony seems to be so afraid to build an actual campaign mode in a game that they're charging money up front for. If I had to guess, honestly, it comes down to greed and looking for that golden goose like Fortnite of just this infinite money glitch that they unlock in the world of gaming. But then again, Fortnite is free to play, and I feel like Sony can't get past that part. While I personally don't feel like Marathon's going to instantly crash and burn like Concord did, at least immediately, I do believe it will eventually go free to play at some point. And when that happens, those who paid for it early will just end up being the ones who forked over cash for early access of a game. Because in a saturated multiplayer market filled with polished, competitive free-to-play options, this is going to be yet another game that they're trying to charge money for in a long line of other games that they don't charge money for. And if there's not an actual hook to draw the gamer into playing the experience, why would people pay to play? I keep going back to how Concord launched at $40, which was billed as a live service hero shooter and was immediately slammed for its extremely woke marketing, uninspired gameplay, and total lack of overall originality. Not to mention the characters were ugly as hell to boot. Critics and players alike completely dragged the game from the jump, not just for the ideological pandering, but for having the sheer audacity to be charging a premium price tag where most competitors in the same field cost absolutely nothing. Which the obvious result was, Concord failed to secure any kind of player base, servers were shut down within 2 weeks, and the studio shut down completely months later. One of the most embarrassing failures in gaming history. And Bungie is a massive company that Sony had paid billions of dollars for. And this seems like quite the risk to be taking. Now Bungie is walking that very same tightrope. Marathon apparently has no single player game to speak of, and it's adopting a seasonal model with battle passes. The same model Destiny 2 players had already been growing pretty weary of. While Bungie undeniably has a better track record and fan goodwill than Firewalk ever had, the elephant in the room question still remains. Will people pay for yet another online-only shooter when the free-to-play space is already overflowing? And I keep going back to how it's a massive risk. If the pricing model isn't handled perfectly and the gameplay fails to immediately hook the players, Marathon could face the very same fate as Concord and Anthem did. Bungie says more details will arrive this summer, but until then, I can't help but feel like Marathon is setting itself up to be the next gigantic live service flop. But I suppose time is going to tell on this one, and regardless, it should be interesting to see exactly what happens. I'll be watching it close. But anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you guys think about this situation. If you feel like Marathon is different than Anthem and Concord, or if you feel like it's going to follow the same path as those games did because of the pricing model for what appears to be just an online PvP game that doesn't really have much in addition to that. If you guys want more information, check out smashjt.com for the full article. I will link it in the description below. If you appreciate what I'm doing, hit that join button. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, you stay smashing.
Marathon is a team-based extraction shooter set around the mysterious and cutthroat world of Tau Ceti 4. You are a runner, a cybernetic mercenary who's given up their human form for a biosynthetic shell with unique abilities and stats, capable of both tactical and fast-paced combat.
Smash it,